Hey guys, looking at the quadratic formula tonight. So to use the quadratic formula, the first thing you need to do is put your equation in standard form and set the equation equal to 0. So as you can see here, here's standard form equal to 0. So after that, we're going to plug in the numbers into this formula. It's called the quadratic formula. I do expect you to have this formula memorized for the test, which is probably going to be on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 1. Now, all 4 of these examples, the equations are already set equal to 0, so we can go ahead and use the formula. So starting off, our a value is our coefficient on the x squared term, so we have a 1. Our coefficient on the x term is our b value, and then our c value is our constant, otherwise known as our y-intercept on the end. Okay, so all we have to do is plug these numbers in above. So we're going to have, and remember, everything that you see here in this formula is part of the form. So we have x equals negative. That's part of the form, so you have to write it down. Okay, and now we're going to plug in the b value, which is 2. Plus or minus. Then we're going to make our radical. Okay, our b value again here is 2 squared minus 4 times our a value, which is 1, times our c value, which is negative 15. And then we're going to divide all of that by 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, now we're going to do some work here. First thing we're going to work on is underneath the radical. This number underneath the radical is known as the discriminant. So I'm going to write that up here. Whatever this number is under here is called the discriminant. Okay, if the discriminant, take some little extra notes up here, if the discriminant is greater than 0, we have 2 real solutions. We like to call them x-intercepts. If b squared minus 4ac, the discriminant, is equal to 0, we have 1 real solution. And we call that a double root. It's the same root twice. If b squared, if the discriminant is less than 0, that would mean it's a negative number. We have 2 imaginary solutions. Okay, well, let me show you what each looks like. First of all, 2 real solutions. Here we're going to have a parabola that crosses the x-axis in 2 places. Crosses in 2 places. Here, where there's 1 real solution, when the discriminant is 0, here it touches in 1 place. So we have a double root. Imaginary solutions, here the parabola does not touch the x-axis. Does not touch the x-axis anywhere. So those are your 3 types. So please make sure you know all about your discriminant. Okay, let's get back to the math. So first thing I'm going to work on is the discriminant. So I'm going to get 2 squared, which is 4, minus minus 4 times 1 times negative 15. That's going to give us a positive 60. I'm just going to say negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 15 is going to give us positive 60. Okay, so our discriminant is 64. Let me put the rest of this on. Okay, and this is going to be equal to x, which is our solution. So we're going to have x equals negative 2 plus or minus, and the square root of 64 is 8 over 2. So there are two solutions here. Pay very close attention to what I'm about to do. To get our first solution, okay, we're going to use the plus part. So ignore the minus. So we're going to have negative 2 plus 8 divided by 2, which is 3. And then the second solution, we're going to use the minus part. So we're going to have negative 2 minus 8 divided by 2, which is going to be negative 5. So my two solutions are 3 and negative 5. Now notice my discriminant was 64. Okay, 64 is greater than 0. Excuse me, 64 is greater than 0, so we have two real solutions. All right, let's take a look at example number 2. A value, B value, and C value. By the way, I just checked the temperature outside, and it is a whopping 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The cold front has come through. Hope you guys are dressing warm. Okay, let's plug our numbers into the quadratic formula. So we have x equals negative b. Now our b value is negative 4, so negative 4 goes in where the b is. Remember, the negative on the b is part of the form, so it has to go there. Plus or minus radical. Now I like to put my numbers in parentheses because of the negative sign. So negative 4 squared minus 4 times a is negative 2, times c, which is 3. Dividing it all by 2 times a. All right, let's determine what our discriminant is first. So we're going to have x equals a negative and a negative make a positive. Let's find out what that discriminant is going to be. Negative 4 squared, 16, minus, well, a minus and a minus is going to make a plus, so it's going to be plus. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24, over 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. So our discriminant here is 24 plus 16, 40. Oops. 4 plus or minus the square root of 40 over negative 4. Running out a little space here. Now, the square root of 40, it's not a perfect square. So remember, we have to simplify our radical. In the last video I taught you how to simplify. I'm going to go ahead and use 4 and 10 as my two factors. Okay, so the square root of 4 and the square root of 10. So I'm going to have, I wonder if I can fit it in here. Yeah, better just go over here. X equals 4 plus or minus. Okay, we're going to take the square root of 4, which is 2. Okay, then the square root of 10 gets tagged on the end. all over negative 4. Now, that would be your answer. Now, it's not simplified. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to show you how to simplify it. If you get down this far, great job. But I want to show you how to simplify this. You would need to factor out a common factor out of these two terms. So 2 would be a common factor. So if I factor out a 2 out of 4, I get 2. If I factor a 2 out of 2, I get 1 over negative 4. And then 2/4, this is 2 over 4, or negative 4. I'm going to go ahead and move that negative out front. 2/4 reduces to 1/2. So 1 on the top, 2 on the bottom. 2 plus or minus the square root of 10. Now that is the simplified version of that. And I want you to attempt to simplify, okay? That would be good for pre-AP class to be able to simplify their answers down, okay? Now, we're going on 12 minutes now. So tomorrow in class, I'm going to go ahead and do example 3. Why don't you start on it and see if you can do it. Go ahead and start on it. I will go over example 3 and example 4. Okay? 3 and 4, but go ahead and start on 3 and see if you can get the right answer for number 3. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of this tonight. Ha! We only could hope for that. Night, night.